Hi everybody, and welcome back to our kitchen. I'm excited today because the air is starting to turn crisp, and but it's still a nice day outside. And my recipe today is going to be a knockoff on chicken rice Roni. Now, as you all know, gluten-free, dairy-free. You haven't had things that you can just grab a box in the grocery store and eat it because everything has wheat and dairy in it. So what do? You make your own, and regretfully, I know that a lot of you are really busy with kids and everything, so maybe if you can eke out a little bit of time on the weekends or something, or in the morning when the kids are sleeping, I hope, and you can make your own and just put them in bags and save them for the next time, and then you'll have side dishes to pull out of the cupboard that are already made gluten-free, dairy-free. Now I'm going to show you a little hack I saw on YouTube the other day on how to break up your spaghetti, because we need to break it up for the rice and chicken broth. But let me show you how that's done. Okay, I took out a towel and I'm going to lay it over the spaghetti, and I'm going to do it a couple times like this, and get your spaghetti in the towel and just take it over the edge of the counter. I so wanted to see how this worked. Instead of putting it in a bag and taking a hammer to it, a cooking hammer of course, just go back and forth till you feel that it's pretty well broken up. I think it's going to work out very well. Let's see. Oh yeah, perfect. So I'm going to put the dish together for you over on the stove, and I'll show you how to make this. Okay, what you're going to need for this recipe is basically what the rice-a-roni has in it. Of course, rice-a-roni is a trademark, so I have to call it rice-a-roni style. But anyway, we need 1 cup of rice, half a cup of broken noodles. This is gluten-free pasta, by the way. I use Barilla. And then your seasonings. In here I have a teaspoon of parsley, half a teaspoon of Italian seasoning, half a teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of black pepper, or more if you like it, tablespoon, well that's for the cooking, and then I have 1/4 of a teaspoon of turmeric for the coloring. It makes it yellow. So I just want to let you know what the ingredients were. Let's go cook. Okay, the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of butter, which I'm using plant-based butter. It's Country Crock, and it's olive oil. They have other flavors, but I prefer the olive oil. Get my towel, and I'm going to put the butter in there first, and then I'm going to jazz it up. This is not required in the recipe. And this is bacon grease. So there we go. Figure I'd give it a little bit of flavor. You know me, I can't stick to a recipe. But this is all I'm going to do. I'm not going to put anything else in there that would not come with a regular recipe. Let this get all over the skillet. I've got it on the heat. I just turned it on. Let it get a little bit bubbly here so we can put the rice and the pasta in here just like you would a box of rice-a-roni. Now, like I said, you can double this recipe, triple it, whatever you want to do. Put them in separate bags and put them in your pantry so that when you need a quick side dish for a meal, or even if your kids are begging you, I'm hungry, you can make them this recipe and it doesn't take too long. Okay, I'm going to put the rice in there now. 1 cup of rice. half a cup of pasta, which I didn't measure. Now I put it all in. And we're going to toast this and stir it into the oil. Make sure that the rice gets coated with your oil. And getting back to the oils, you can use olive oil or whatever you want to use instead of the butter and of course the bacon grease. But I'm going to let this cook for a while. It's going to get nutty brown, and that's when I want to show you what it looks like. Okay, now our rice and our pasta are getting nutty brown. Now I didn't stir it constantly. I let it sit for a little bit, kept an eye on it, and then when I saw some brownish coming up through there, I started stirring it, and this is what we came out with. Okay, now this recipe takes the spices that I said. I'm just going to sprinkle those over the top. And it calls for 2 2/3 cup of chicken broth. Now I'm using a bullion. If you have regular broth in the containers in your pantry, you can use that. I just like the bullion because it's easy to portion it out to what I need. Oh, all my spices didn't go in there. It's been humid here, people. Yeah, we've had a lot of rain. So I'm going to stir this in gently because you know this water's hot. Okay, now it's boiling. We want to bring it down to a simmer, which your stoves differ. If you've learned your stove so far, you know where that is. It's about 2 on mine. We're going to put a lid on it. And we're going to cook this for about 20 minutes. And I'll be back. Okay, it's done. It's nice and fluffy. First thing you have to do before you take it off the stove is to taste it. And I'm not saying to taste it for salt. I'm saying to taste it to make sure your rice is done and your pasta is done. If they aren't, you need to add about a 1/4 cup of water and continue cooking for another 5 minutes. Okay, it's done. And I want you to notice that I didn't put any chopped vegetables, no chopped onions, no anything like that. I wanted to keep it simple so you can whip it up really fast. Now, you can add that stuff if you want to, if you have the time, and you want to chop onions and all that. Just cook them in the skillet before you put the rice and the pasta in there. So I'm going to taste it for you. I like to take a little wedge of lime. That's just me because I had a lot of limes I got to get rid of. And it gives it like a, I love lime, limey taste to it, and it pops the flavor. Oh my goodness. This is to die for. I haven't had rice-a-roni since I made my beef rice-a-roni that I'll put the link down below, and it's also gluten-free, dairy-free. I want to say thank you for joining me. I got rice in my mouth. Push the subscribe button, ring that bell so you'll know that when my next recipe comes out. And I hope you enjoyed this, changing a regular recipe to gluten-free, dairy-free, so you can enjoy. Bye!